Today we're diving into something truly special, a sweet potato gratin. But before we get started, let's just take a moment to appreciate the sheer size of this sweet potato. It is massive, truly gargantuan. You can either use three normal sized sweet potatoes for this recipe or just one beastly sweet potato like this one I'm working with today. Either way, you're in for a treat. This dish is one of my absolute favorites. The sweet potato medallions form a foundation of a creamy, decadent masterpiece. It's got a unique burst of sweetness, a luxurious texture, and enough flavor to win over even the most die-hard vegetable skeptics at the table. Trust me, this gratin is an absolute celebration of plant-based goodness. Let's get started by prepping our sweet potato. First, peel off that skin and make sure to compost it. Your garden will thank you later. Now comes the slicing. You could use a mandolin for those thin, even slices, but today I'm breaking out my new food processor. It's an absolute beast, and I've been itching to test it on something tough like sweet potatoes. Spoiler alert, it did not disappoint. Your goal here is to slice the sweet potatoes as thinly as possible. Think paper thin. This will ensure they cook evenly and create that perfectly balanced texture in the final dish. And I'll admit, I cut mine a bit too thick, thicker than I'd like because I was worried my food processor couldn't handle it, but now I know better for next time. Thin slices are the key for a quicker cook time and a more cohesive final dish. Now that our sweet potato medallions are ready, it's time to focus on the aromatics. Grab a beautiful yellow onion and peel it. Slice it julienne style, which is just a fancy way of saying long, thin strips. Then prepare your garlic. You can mince it or leave it as is if you're feeling bold. Next, heat up your pan. I'm using a brand new always pan, and I couldn't be more excited to put it to the test. I've heard a lot of good things about these. Add a bit of vegetable oil to the pan, and once it's nice and hot, toss in your onions and garlic. Stir them around to make sure everything's evenly coated and starting to cook down. Once they start to become a little more translucent, it's time for the seasoning. A pinch of cinnamon, a sprinkle of salt, and a crack of fresh black pepper. These spices take the dish to the next level with their warm, cozy flavors. Once they're ready and the spices are in, you're going to give it a final stir, and you're going to take that pan off the heat. There's no need to overdo it here. We're just building flavor at this stage. Next up is the liquid base, which is the heart and soul of this gratin. It's creamy, dreamy, and ridiculously easy to make. Start with a half cup of coconut milk. Full fat is ideal for that extra richness. And if you don't have a cashew allergy like we do in this house, you can soak 3 tablespoons of raw cashews in hot water for about 15 minutes and blend them. Since cashews are off the table for us, I'm going to be using almond flour instead, which works beautifully here. Add 3.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast to the mix. This is plant-based gold, adding a cheesy umami kick that's an absolute essential. Blend everything together until it's smooth and creamy. Oh, and one more quick note, I haven't added any salt to the liquid yet, so just keep that in mind for later. All right, it's time to assemble. Before you start, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit if you haven't already. Lightly coat your baking dish with a bit of cooking oil, then pour a thin layer of the liquid base onto the bottom. This is like the glue that holds the whole gratin together. Now start layering. Begin with a single layer of sweet potato medallions, overlapping them slightly like shingles on a roof. Sprinkle on a bit of salt, fresh cracked black pepper, and then add a layer of onion mixture. Repeat this process, liquid, sweet potato, salt, pepper, onions, until you've used up all of your ingredients. You want to build it all the way to the top of the dish, finishing with a layer of sweet potatoes. For the final touch, I added a little extra almond milk to make up for the thickness of my potatoes. Hopefully you don't have to do that on yours. And then sprinkle some oregano on top along with a pinch of salt, and it's ready for the oven. You're going to pop your gratin into the oven and bake it uncovered for 35 minutes. If you just want that gorgeous golden crust on top, you can also switch to broil for the last 2 to 3 minutes. Just keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn. When it's done, pull it out and take a moment to admire your creation. The top should be slightly crisped. The layers underneath should be bubbling with creamy, savory goodness. It's a thing of beauty. I hope you give this sweet potato gratin a try and let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you're curious what else was on this plate in the video, stick around for the video coming up next. I'm going to show you how to complete this meal with one of my other favorite dishes, great for entertaining or impressing people that come over for a big family dinner. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more recipes, and I'll see you over on the next video.